It was already past midnight when Sara's phone started buzzing. At first, she ignored it. She had been avoiding calls all day, afraid of the questions she couldn't answer, but this time, the name on the screen froze her heart. Stefano, the one person she had promised herself she'd never speak to again, the one person who knew everything. Her hands trembled as she stared at the screen. The call stopped. Then, a message appeared: "Tell Ken the truth, or I'll do it for you." Her heart dropped. She reread the words again and again, her pulse racing. For weeks, Sara had been living with the weight of a secret, something she thought she could bury forever. But Stefano wasn't the kind of man to let things go. He had waited, watched, and now, he had finally decided to strike. Moments later, another message came through, this time with a photo. It was her, with Stefano, taken months ago, in a place no one else was supposed to know about. The caption beneath it read, "One photo is all it takes. I warned you." Sara's knees went weak. She dropped the phone onto the table and buried her face in her hands. The past was coming back, fast, cruel, unstoppable. Meanwhile, in another part of Rome, Can Yaman sat in his quiet apartment, scrolling through social media, unaware of the storm heading his way. His latest project was taking off. The silence after his last scandal had finally turned into peace. He smiled faintly, sipping his coffee. He had no idea that someone was planning to destroy that peace all over again. Stefano, on the other hand, was already on his way to the airport. He had waited long enough. He had the evidence, the messages, the recordings, everything that could tear Sara's carefully rebuilt life apart. He opened his phone and played one of the recordings, her voice, soft, nervous, whispering, "Ken can't know." "Not yet." He smirked. "Not yet," he repeated quietly. "But he will." Sara's phone rang again. This time, she answered, her voice breaking. "Stefano, please, don't do this. You've had enough chances, Sara. He deserves the truth. Tell him yourself, or I will. You don't understand. It will ruin everything." "No, Sara," Stefano said coldly. "It will fix everything." The line went dead. She sat there, frozen, the sound of his voice echoing in her mind. For the first time in months, she felt completely powerless. She knew what Stefano was capable of, and this time, he wasn't bluffing. Outside her window, the night felt heavier than usual. Somewhere out there, Stefano was moving, and the clock had started ticking. If she didn't tell Ken the truth soon, someone else would, and once that happened, nothing would ever be the same again. Sara hadn't slept a single minute. The city outside was still asleep, but inside her apartment everything felt like it was collapsing. Her phone wouldn't stop lighting up, unknown numbers, blocked calls, and then one message that made her blood run cold: "You have 48 hours. After that, I show him everything." No name. No signature, just the timer ticking. She knew Stefano was serious. He had always been calculated, never emotional, never impulsive. When he said everything, he meant everything. She scrolled through their old messages, thousands of them, some innocent, some dangerously revealing. There were voice notes too, ones she had forgotten even existed. And there, buried between the lines, was the truth she had fought so hard to hide: her connection to the night that almost ended Can's career, the very scandal he believed had been a random setup. It hadn't been random at all. Tears filled her eyes. She had never meant for any of it to happen. Back then, she thought she was helping him, protecting him, but Stefano had turned everything into a weapon, and now, that weapon was pointed at her. She grabbed her coat and ran out. The streets were empty, the early morning air cutting like ice. She didn't know where to go, but she knew she had to warn Ken before it was too late. Meanwhile, across town, Stefano sat in a cafe near the train station, scrolling through his own phone. He wasn't hiding anymore. He didn't need to. He had already uploaded the folder, encrypted, timed, and set to release automatically if she didn't act. He smirked as he sipped his espresso. "You had your chance, Sara," he muttered. "Now, the truth belongs to the world." On his screen, a countdown app blinked, 47 hours 15 minutes. At 0, every file would go public, the videos, the messages, even the photos. Back at Can's apartment, he was finishing breakfast when his manager called. "Can, we have a situation." "What now?" "Someone is contacting the press, they're saying there's another video. This time involving Sara." Can froze. "Sara?" "Yes. They claim it's something that connects to your old scandal." He didn't speak for a few seconds, then quietly, "That's impossible." But deep down, a strange unease started to grow in his chest. Sara had been distant lately, strange calls, cancelled plans, messages left unread. He had sensed something was off but had chosen to ignore it. Now, that choice was coming back to haunt him. He put down his phone and stared out the window. The peace he had built after months of chaos was starting to crack again, and this time, it felt personal. Sara finally reached his building hours later. Her eyes were red, her voice trembling when the guard stopped her at the entrance. "Please, I need to see him," she said desperately. "It's urgent. He's not expecting visitors today, ma'am. Please, tell him it's about Stefano." The guard's expression changed instantly. Minutes later, Ken appeared in the lobby, confused, cautious, but concerned. When their eyes met, there was no anger, no blame, just fear. She stepped closer, whispering, "Ken, I need to tell you something. But you have to promise not to hate me." The silence in the lobby was unbearable. Even the sound of the elevator seemed to fade into nothing as Ken stood there, looking at Sara, the woman he had trusted, defended, and loved despite everything the world said. "What's going on, Sara?" "Ken, please. Not here." He led her upstairs, unlocking the door to his apartment. The moment it closed behind them, she broke down. Tears streamed down her face, words tumbling out like pieces of glass. "He's going to ruin everything, Ken. Stefano, he knows." Ken frowned. "Knows what?" Sara took a deep breath. Her hands were shaking as she pulled out her phone, scrolling through messages, photos, voice notes, the very evidence that could destroy them both. "That night, the night everything went wrong for you, it wasn't an accident." Ken's heart dropped. He took a step back. "What do you mean?" "The video, the leak, the headlines. Stefano planned it all. But I was part of it too." He froze. For a moment, he thought he had misheard her. "You what?" "I didn't know what he was really doing, Ken. He said it was a publicity campaign, something to humanize you after the press turned against you. I thought it would help you." She covered her face, crying harder now. "I swear, I didn't know he'd twist it. I didn't know he'd turn it into a scandal. When I realized what he'd done, it was already too late." Ken's jaw clenched. He looked at her, this woman who had once been his safe place, and suddenly, she felt like a stranger. "And you didn't tell me?" "I tried. But he threatened me. He said he'd release everything if I spoke." "And now?" "Now he's done waiting." Ken turned away, walking toward the window. Outside, the city lights blurred through the glass like streaks of gold. He felt dizzy, betrayed, angry, and broken all at once. "So all this time, I was fighting ghosts. And you knew the truth?" "Ken, please, I was scared." "Scared of what? Losing me? Or losing your secret?" The words hit her like a slap. She stepped closer, desperate. "I never meant to hurt you. I was trying to protect you from him." He looked at her then, his voice low but sharp. "You can't protect someone with lies, Sara." The room went quiet. Only the sound of her crying filled the air. After a moment, he turned toward her again. "Where is he now?" "In Rome. He said he's meeting a journalist tomorrow. He has everything. The photos, the messages, the videos. He said if I don't tell you, he'll make it public." Ken took a deep breath, his expression hardening. "Then he won't get that chance." Sara looked up, startled. "What are you going to do?" "What I should have done a long time ago." He grabbed his jacket, phone, and keys. As he reached the door, she ran after him. "Ken, please, don't do this. He'll destroy you." He stopped, looked back, and said quietly, "He already tried." And then he was gone. Sara collapsed to the floor, trembling. She knew what that look in his eyes meant. He wasn't just going to talk to Stefano. He was going to end this, once and for all. The sound of rain echoed against the glass as Ken walked through the streets of Rome. He didn't feel the cold. He didn't feel the people staring. He felt only one thing, the burning clarity that comes right before the storm. Stefano was staying at the Hotel Aurora, a luxury building near Piazza Venezia. Sara had said he was meeting a journalist there, to finally reveal everything. Ken didn't text. He didn't call. He simply walked in through the lobby as if he owned the place. His presence alone drew eyes, tall, calm, but with that dangerous stillness that made people step aside without knowing why. At the far end of the lobby, near the marble columns, Stefano was sitting, phone in one hand, espresso in the other, waiting. The moment he saw Can, his smirk faltered for just a second. Can. I was wondering when you'd show up. Can stopped a few meters away. You've said enough, Stefano. Oh, I haven't even started. The truth needs to be told. Can took a step closer. The truth? You mean the lies you built from pieces of my life? Stefano stood up slowly, straightening his jacket. Come on. You and I both know the world loves a scandal. You got famous because of one, why not give them another? Can's eyes darkened. You're playing with people's lives. No, I'm exposing them. The difference is honesty. The tension in the air was thick enough to choke on. Several people in the lobby had started filming, phones lifted, whispers spreading like wildfire. Can glanced around, he knew the cameras were rolling. Good. Let them see everything. He stepped forward, close enough that Stefano could hear the calm in his voice. You want honesty? Fine. Let's give them the truth. He pulled his phone from his pocket and tapped a button. A voice recording began to play. Stefano's own voice, from days before. You have 48 hours. After that, I show him everything. The crowd gasped. Stefano's face went pale. Where did you get that? From the same network you thought you could control. Can's team had been watching too. While Sara was confessing, they had already started digging, tracing the leaks, the fake accounts, the shadow deals, and everything led back to one person, Stefano. You didn't just blackmail Sara, Can said, voice rising now. You framed her. You used her fear to destroy both of us. You think anyone will believe you? Stefano snapped. You're the actor, I'm the one with proof. Can turned toward the cameras that were still recording and spoke clearly, his voice echoing through the lobby. You want proof? Here it is, the man who spent months selling lies, threatening a woman, and manipulating the media just to stay relevant. He showed the screen, the message threads, the voice notes, the payments linked to Stefano's company. Gasps filled the room. The journalists who had arrived early for Stefano's meeting started filming frantically, realizing they were witnessing a live scandal unraveling in real time. Stefano's composure shattered. You think this ends here, Can? You can't erase what's already out there. Can stepped closer, his voice low but cold. No. But I can make sure everyone knows who started it. Security arrived. Within minutes, Stefano was escorted out as flashes from cameras filled the air. Somewhere in the chaos, someone shouted, It's over, Stefano. The truth's out. Can didn't respond. He just stood there, still, composed, victorious, but not happy, because victory didn't feel like freedom. It felt like loss. As he walked out into the rain, the crowd outside erupted with questions. He didn't stop. He didn't speak. He just walked, letting the water wash the night off his face, and in his silence, the world finally saw the truth. Not the actor, not the headlines, but the man who had been fighting shadows all along. The next morning, every news channel in Europe opened with the same headline, Stefano exposed, the man behind the lies. Clips of the hotel confrontation flooded social media. Every outlet replayed the moment Can faced him, calm, composed, unstoppable. The public's opinion shifted overnight. Where once there was doubt, now there was respect. But Can didn't celebrate. He didn't watch the videos, didn't read the headlines. He turned off his phone, drew the curtains, and sat in silence. The truth had finally come out, but it hadn't come without a price. Sara had disappeared. Her apartment was empty, her phone disconnected. All that remained was a note, left on his doorstep, written in her unmistakable handwriting. You did what I couldn't, Can. I thought silence would protect us, but you proved that truth is stronger. I'm leaving before the cameras find me. Don't look for me, I don't deserve to be found. S. He read it twice, then folded it carefully and placed it on the table. He didn't cry. He didn't even sigh. He just looked out the window, where the rain had stopped and the sunlight was slowly breaking through the clouds. His manager called later that afternoon. You're trending everywhere, Can. They're calling it your redemption. Redemption, he repeated quietly. That's not what this was. Then what was it? A reminder. That truth hurts less than lies. He hung up, stood up, and walked to the mirror. For the first time in a long time, the man looking back at him felt real. No masks, no defenses, no pretenses, just the truth. That evening, he went for a walk through the quiet streets of Trastevere. No bodyguards, no cameras, just the sound of the city breathing again. On a small bridge over the Tiber River, he stopped, took out his phone, and snapped a photo of the sunset, fiery orange fading into calm blue. He uploaded it to Instagram with a single caption: "Some storms don't destroy you. They wash away everything that wasn't real." Within minutes, millions of likes poured in, but he didn't care about that. He just smiled faintly, as the notification sound buzzed one last time, a message request from an unknown number. He opened it. It was a single line: "I saw the sunset too." He closed his eyes, exhaled slowly, and whispered, "Then maybe there's still something left to heal." As the city lights flickered on, Can walked away from the bridge, not as the man who had been broken but as someone who had finally made peace with the truth. Behind him, the river carried the last reflection of the sunset, and with it, every lie, every wound, every secret that had haunted them both. This time, the silence wasn't heavy. It was freedom.